Hi there. So I've waited a little too long, longer than I wanted to show this next video. But I have 4 blocks done, which I'm going to go over. Not really sure if this is right side for you, so sorry. I'll kind of turn it. So I have a couple things. As I've said, I'm not an expert at stuff, but the bunny rabbit. Let's talk about that. This is just some muslin, and I saw it in a book, and I just copied it freehand. And I used the Heat and Bond Lite and ironed it onto the fabric, and then I stitched around. But I have to say, I'm not real impressed for the edges, so I'm kind of upset about that. I have some edges that have come up. So the next time I try something like this, I'm going to use this Mod Podge for fabric. It's just glue, so I'm going to try that. And I'm really not sure what to do. I may outline it a little bit more on the inside, but I thought it turned out well. I coffee stained it. It was a white muslin, and I don't know if you can really see that, but it's cute. I like it, but I've got to fix these edges. So I'm not real impressed with the Heat Bond. It could be that it's old. I think it's like a year old, but in a way, you know, I have it tacked down enough to where it won't come up, but I'm still gonna have to figure something out. Maybe glue. I might even try Hodge Podge or Mod Podge right along the seams, because I think it goes invisible. So anyway, Heat and Bond, not that impressed. And I didn't want to use plastic wrap or anything like that. I just, Mod Podge I will try, so I'll let you know how that goes. So this is the gold ribbon, and you know how you gather? I just sewed through the ribbon and pulled it and gathered it up, and then I put some beads in there. Let's talk about ribbons. Like I've said before, I've never done this, so this was an experience. Ribbons, if you're going to use ribbons in your Crazy Quilt, you got to have strong hands. There's no doubt about it, because to pull it through the fabric is very difficult, and you're going to need some of these to pull it through. And I'm using a pretty thick needle. I don't know if I could show you that needle. It's for crewel, I think, but it's got a big eye. So I don't know if you could see the eye, but not that adjusting. It's kind of hard. So while I like the ribbons, I have to say silk frays. And you really have to buy a good quality kind of a fabric quilt or a ribbon. And yeah, it's just not super easy. But anyway, then I did some embroidery stitches here. And because it's so fancy, I still need to tack some of these down, because this came from a wedding dress that I bought at Goodwill. And I think it was for the mother, but some of these beads are loose, so I will tack those down. And this was a ribbon I had, and I just put it on there and tacked it down with the beads in the middle. And it's not my favorite, but it's okay. And then I love this, reminds me of crow's feet, but I forget the name of it. Excuse me, feather stitch or something. Now, yes, this is all kind of empty, and that's the way I'm going to leave it for now. My next one that I did turned out pretty nice. this is a silk scarf that I had, and it had these beautiful, this beautiful flower. And so like when you're sewing your quilt, you know, this was a big block and I saw this flower, so I put it right in the middle. I thought it turned out really nice. So I just outlined it. I got some French knots and just some satin stitches. So I thought it turned out good. It's kind of puckery here. I may do something here, but I just wanted to get my seams in, which I've done. I did this little lace. It's very rustic looking. And this was a ribbon that I had. And a chain stitch. And then I did some flowers and some French knots. I had a hole in the scarf, so I put this over it. And yeah, the rest is kind of blank. So I haven't done anything on this piece, but I'll discuss that in a minute. The next one I had was this fabric that had this elephant. So I kind of two-toned it with a satin stitch. I think it turned out okay. And so I didn't do anything here because I'm not sure what I want to do. I just wanted to get my stitches in. And this is a blanket stitch. And I did 2 different colors here. Hopefully that's coming up on the camera. I liked this one too. And then these I put some beads on. These right here. And again, I've left the corners blank. So I haven't done much on this one. My favorite block, well, one of my favorites. This turned out to be sort of a seascape. And I originally did this piece. This is my silk that I dyed, my Savory silk. And I tacked it down. And it looked pretty to me. And then I had done this flowers with the French knots, and it reminded me of sea life. And so I just put some more bushes kind of like in the water, and then I outlined this white. You could see some of them. I didn't do all of them. I just did some of them. So I outlined that with pearls, and then I made a starfish, and I just kind of went with metallic wire and sewed these little beads on there, two-tone, but but my favorite was this silk Savory here. And I had originally put this on. This was some fabric I had, and I made it poofy. I know the camera's not picking it up, but it's squishy. And it reminded me of coral. And then I had some more silk, and so I put that here. And then I didn't tack it down as well. I left it poofy. And I kind of like it because it reminds me of waves or water. But to me, this one is one of my favorite blocks. This one was, I may have shown this, I'm not sure, but I have 4 done. So the silk Savory I love. I recommend everyone trying silk Savory. And it doesn't look real pretty once you do it, but you rinse it and you let it dry. And when you start, messing with it, it really, really is beautiful. And so I was very pleased with that. So to just be quick about this, because I don't want to take too much of your time, and I hope all that was in camera. So you all know I have this 6 blocks that I've already done. And, something has been bugging me, and it's this right here. I just don't like it. I don't know why. It just bugs me. So I'm going to pull that out. I've debated this for months. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these on to this piece. And so as I sew it together, I'll finish the corners, and then I'm done with that piece. so I don't have to go back, you know, but I've left these blank. So you see now I'll put something here to cover, something here to cover. And I just think it might be easier on me. So I'm probably going to attempt to sew all these blocks together. So I'll lay it out and look, you know, and see how I like them. And just start attaching. So that way everything that gets sewn is done and I don't have to go back. So heat and bond, not real impressed yet, especially with muslin. It might work better with fabric, but it does fray. And I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but there are some little tiny pieces puckering, so I'm not sure. Silk sabori, definitely do. Definitely do silk sabori in your quilt. And yeah, just have fun. So I didn't look at when my last video was, but it's taken me that long to do 4. Now I have been busy. I redid my whole sewing room here. I organized, so I spent about a day and a half on, maybe 2 days, reorganizing, and I did find some more goodies when I did that, so maybe I'll show you that real quick. I've shown you these cards that I make, but I had some Battenberg napkins, and I just cut. Now, they're not pressed or anything, but I just cut them, and I just stapled them on. So I'll use those, and then I've already shown you the doilies. This was some handkerchiefs, and I just put those on there. And my mom, she just passed August 4th, and she lived a good life. But this was her top that she gave me that she wanted me to try to mimic, and I never did. So I'm going to memorialize at least one of these in this quilt. You know, so anyway, that's I cut this off. They were up by the collar, but I thought it was pretty. But it's thick Levi, so I'll have to figure that one out. You know, I did a cross stitch, and I started this project. It was like a big picture, and I was just going to do the trees. And to be honest, I don't know where the instructions are, and I'm not very good at what it is. So I'm just going to cut and post these on the quilt in some areas. I have some on each corner, but I'm not going to undo it. And I was sampling some fabric I had, and I made a, gosh, what do you call this? I forget the name of this pattern. Granny square? But it doesn't look square, but anyway. So I just did one. I was making a pillow, I think. But I thought, well, I'm not going to throw this one piece away. I'll use that on something. So that may not the quilt, but my mom likes, well, she did, and my father, they liked Art Nouveau. And I wanted to, excuse me, my asthma's kicking in. I wanted to make her some pot holders. And I had gotten the Cricut, and I was experimenting with printing on fabric. And so this was just some swatch on muslin to test. But they're still pretty. So, but, you know, the basic thing is to, in fact, you can use this, put it on your fabric, glue it to another piece of fabric, and, I mean, there's all kinds of things. You can YouTube that. I'm not going to go into it, but you can make fabric, even from napkins. So anyway, these were tests, but I thought they could be pretty in something, so I put those there. These were some curtains, like cafe curtains that I picked up at Goodwill, but they had some cute embroidery, but I didn't want the curtains, so I just cut those off, and maybe I'll use those. This is another cross stitch I started, so I especially like this one, so I might use that in my quilt. And then I found these parrots, and I bought these. I did not do these, so they're awfully big, so they can't go in this quilt, but I'll use them on something. And then I had bought this Battenberg collar for like $3. And it's made to go around a dress. It even had the button. But, you know, I probably might use just the flower. So, you know, it's something to think about. I found a couple more doilies that I made, but I never finished. And so I'll probably, you know, I would cut that, but we'll see. And then another, this is 2 swans. And I had 2 of these. There's 2 in here, but it's kind of like the parrots. It's big, so won't go on my quilt. I found these. I don't remember what they were on, but I cut them apart. And I thought they were pretty. I love the sun. And so I'll try to utilize that in my quilt. And they have this one. I either tape or staple. And then, I hope this is right side for you. Now this whole thing could go on something, or I could just cut around. And, in fact, you could see this is white fabric. I just recently, I didn't like these, where is it? I didn't really like these. I didn't think they were that pretty. And so I thought, well, let me use some fabric dye, and I used yellow, and because I wanted the insides, but it's still drying, and maybe I might use it. I'm not sure. But they had these 3 little, see these little red flowers, and I dyed them. And what you can do is use the Mod Podge and glue it down, and then, you know, do a stitch around it. And then I would put a seed in the middle. So the yellow didn't seem to affect the orange too much, or the red. So I've got those drying. So yeah, you can, like, I can just cut one and put them where I want. So this one's pretty big, but that'll look nice on something. And then I've already shown this, I believe, just some hankies. And I believe I showed this before. And I forget what this was, a napkin maybe. And I had forgotten all about this, but one day I got interested. Harbinger, I think is what they call this. It's where you cut threads out. I was quite impressed with myself on this. I don't know if I can, let me see if I can adjust that a little. But yeah, I thought that turned out really pretty. And I'm definitely going to cut this out and put this on the quilt. And then I had started, one of my quilts, I guess. But for some reason this piece was just in there, so my scrap bag. So I went ahead and taped that in there. So, I guess I'll show you this other thing. So in a magazine, or one of the embroider magazines, they had these cute little teapots, and they had holes going differently, and I thought it'd be cute to put a bow. And these are not baked, they're still soft. And I'm like I said, I've made a few things in polymer clay, and I have referenced Turtle Soup Beads, who's excellent with she's excellent with polymer clay. I can't say that I love this. I was just more practicing. I was going to bake it. And this might be too thin, so I'm just checking it out. This is sort of a test that I'm doing. And well, let's see if I could show you what I want to do on that. It's really cute. I believe believe it's in this quilt. Yeah, it's going to be in this book that I got it. Just give me a second. It's right in the front. But the books give me inspiration. I don't necessarily read everything. But maybe it's not this book. Wait, let me look. I have one more that might have come from. It's that one. Oh, shucks. It must have been another book, but I don't know why it's not handy. That's what happens when you organize, right? Thought I had all my books together. Well, anyway, I'll just show here. You do a tree with, you know, your bark and stuff, make it look like bark. And it was real round, like a little topiary. And I forget, she had a certain color, but I thought it'd be cute to make a lemon tree and with yellow. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And this I mixed. I had some gold polymer clay, and I mixed it with like I didn't have any black that was small. I didn't want for testing. So this was sort of a chocolate. And it got a little bit darker. I was trying for terracotta, but that didn't quite work. But anyway, these are test only. I may do a few more. That's what got me to organize my room, is I was saying, oh, I've got to bring my polymer clay in now. And my room is totally full. So, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you. If you like this video, to put a like there for me. And I appreciate some of the comments that I got last video. I really appreciate your feedback, and you know, it's for inspiration in a troubled world, so it gives me some solitude and peace. And I just want to thank you for spending your time with me. I do appreciate it. And get inspired. Have fun. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.